couple's home, a formality after his first sentencing more than a week ago.
But after that sentencing, it was realized that DePape was never asked directly if he wanted to speak at the hearing. So on Tuesday, he had a resentencing hearing. He was again given 30 years in prison, but this time he got to speak and apologized for his attack on Paul Pelosi. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Closing arguments resumed in the hush money criminal trial of Donald Trump. Prosecutors now delivering their final summation before the jury begins deliberations. Trump is accused of falsifying business records related to campaign finance laws. The temporary floating pier off Gaza's coast supplying humanitarian aid is out of service for the time being following stormy seas. The U.S. working on repairs so those aid shipments can resume. This is ABC News.
From grown-worthy dad jokes to patching up skinned knees, your one-of-a-kind dad deserves a gift guaranteed to take him to his happy place. Show him the love with a gift as unforgettable as he is. Omaha Steaks. Order the deluxe Father's Day gift package at omahasteaks.com. 20 unforgettable entrees plus 4 free burgers for just $89.99 when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY at checkout.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WNSR. Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Upside, the free app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back just for buying the gas I was going to buy anyway.
But is it a hassle to use?
No, it's super fast and easy, and I can cash out whenever I want.
That's a total no-brainer. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LIFT for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's promo code LIFT. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LIFT for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LIFT.
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios. Just a bit outside. It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Alrighty then.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
And a good Tuesday afternoon to you, and yes, it is time for the McFarland Show. Darren and Justin here with you. We are live in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Orange Dame is alongside. He is representing the number 1 seed overall in college baseball. Not representing the softball team, because we'll get to that in a bit, because their season, unfortunately, is over. Didn't make it to the World Series. I think their World Series is in Oklahoma City, I believe. Women's College World Series. Okay. Didn't make it. Surprise, surprise. We'll talk to Vince Ferrara to begin the second hour of the program. He's with 99.1, the sports animal there in Knoxville. We do this every Monday. We're going to have a lengthy conversation with him. There's tons to go over with our buddy Vince. Justin, how we doing?
Doing good.
How was your Memorial weekend?
Quiet, kind of like, I like it. It was low-key. Turned a year older over the weekend, and that was good as well. I did.
Wow. Well, belated happy birthday.
Thank you very much, sir. That was good. So no, everything was fine. Took in a lot of college baseball and and the like here. So looking forward to today's conversation, hearing what everybody's got to say. A lot of things outside the sports world, of course, watching the NBA as well. The death of Bill Walton is something of note there. And, something that caught my eye this morning, Rafael Nadal, getting out of the French Open early on after winning 14 tournaments.
Yeah, in tennis years, though, he's like 88 years old.
He is.
Like
I
tennis
understand
years.
that.
He's like 88.
I can't disagree with you. I cannot.
Because if you think running backs get old,
man,
in the NFL at 38 in tennis, that's as good as the 88.
He was supposed to be like invincible on the clay and all that. Yeah. Well, not anymore.
Well, he's 88 in tennis years.
Makes sense.
So it does. It makes sense.
Got no pushback against
I'm
that.
sure
I
his
don't.
opponent that he lost to was 18.
Yeah. Well,
so
and thrilled right now.
Yes.
Thrilled that he's the one that gets to send Rafael Nadal into the sunset. So nice.
I feel like every generation says this, Justin, but here goes.
Okay.
So this weekend, we dodged the rain and we were fine, believe it or not. As crazy as that sounds, but we played baseball this weekend. On Saturday, we were at Riverside Park, which is in the Donaldson area. Okay. And we played this team from Ottawa, Tennessee.
All right.
And they had a kid on their team.
Mm-hmm.
This is 12U baseball. Okay. 12U travel baseball.
Very good.
He was 6'2", 185 pounds.
Whoa!
And I feel like every generation, right, says, boy, they weren't this big when we were growing up.
They keep getting bigger and bigger.
And I don't know what's the truth. I don't know if that is reality and that is true, or if just every generation says that. But I just feel like I don't remember ever seeing a 6'2", 185-pound kid when I was 12.
The people who played against Derrick Henry would say the same thing down there in Florida, that Derrick Henry was a monster, the likes of which they had never seen. And, of course, he set every record on under the sun down there. Every, now and again, you have a man playing amongst boys in some of these leagues here. And I think that's what you kind of ran into the other night. I've told the story about myself playing against John Henderson. Yes, that John. Yes, the defensive tackle from Tennessee, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Raiders. Yeah, that guy.
And my guess is he didn't hit his growth spurt in college.
No. I played against him in 8th grade, and it was a long afternoon.
He was what sport?
Basketball.
He was dunking.
He was what I remember more than anything else is he was moving me against my will. I was not wishing to move, and I was getting moved out of the way.
Hey, Justin, it wasn't you, man.
No.
It was anybody that was in his way.
And I was a pretty good-sized person. And, I was used to
you weren't a horse jockey.
No, I was used to being the guy, at least we can joust a little bit. Like, if you're going to move me, I'm going to move you back. We can hit a little bit. Nah, that was kind of a one-way thing.
Again, it wasn't you. Wow, Damon found that funny.
Hey.
It's not funny when you had to go up against him.
It was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was. But again, it wasn't you. It was.
Wait a minute now. I'm not crying about it. I'm just saying
it was reality.
It was an experience. That's what I'm trying to share. I'm not crying about it. I'm just saying it was an experience. An
experience that you will never forget.
No. Well, it felt like, and this is the truth. It felt like playing against an adult. Because when you're in 8th grade, true, you can get another grown man down there who could throw you around a little bit, but you're used to that when you're playing against somebody who's a grown person. You're not used to that when you're playing against somebody who's supposed to be your own age. And that is the weird part. So, no, I don't think it's just this generation. I think you just ran into the giant in the land. That's all.
Yeah, we're a pretty good size 12U baseball team, and he made everybody look 9.
Yeah.
He made everybody look 9 years old. He's just a specimen, and we did an unbelievable job with him on all of his plate appearances until his last at bat, and then he finally hit one that no one moved. It was just like, oh no.
How far the fences were you guys playing? The 300 feet?
No, these were the Riverside. The field that we were on for that game was a smaller fence. 225?
225?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where it landed.
Yeah.
I think it was in somebody's backyard. And, it was well over 225.
Well over the tree line.
Over the trees.
Into the subdivision.
Well over the concession stand. Well over the bathrooms. Yeah.
Amazing.
And luckily, it wasn't enough to beat us. We beat them. We were down 10-4 in the last at bat and won 13-10. It was a crazy game. It was fun.
The great equalizer in baseball is he only gets one at bat.
You're right. That's where I was going.
You can't just keep feeding him the ball like you can in other sports.
He doesn't bat 9 times.
No,
so that's the beauty.
No, because if he did, that might be a different situation.
Because in basketball, like literally every possession, if they want to give it to John Henderson
down low,
they can. And it's 2 points.
Well, what it did, it gave his teammates confidence to shoot anything they wanted to shoot. Why? He was going to get the ball. You missed, no problem. He was going to get it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even about feeding him. Sometimes just missing the shot was feeding him. It was an afternoon.
Nate on our text line says he lived in Ottawa for most of his life.
Oh, very cool.
Well, there you go, Nate. I would say maybe you know this family, maybe you don't. I don't think you know the kid because he's 12, and you're not 12.
It kind of reminds me of the Charles Barkley commercial. Charles Barkley playing with the kids playing basketball.
Yes. Where they were picking the teams.
Picking. They said, "What do we do? What's the plan? Pass it to me every time."
Well,
move out the way.
Anybody who's from this area that remembers John Henderson knows exactly what Justin was talking about. He was a man child.
Mm-hmm. Man among boys.
Yeah.
They called him Baby Shaq for a little while. I think that was really more once he got into high school.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I mean, I didn't connect the dots, honestly, until later. My father, pointing out John Henderson playing NFL football, asked me, do I remember playing against John Henderson? I was like, who are you talking about? And he had to remind me I was like, that was John Henderson? Because everybody called him Baby Shaq. I didn't remember I didn't get the name of the truck that was running me over during that game. I didn't.
You didn't get the license plate number?
No, I was trying to forget it.
I'm sure it said Hendo.
I was trying to forget it. So that was not fun. But hey, it's a story now, so we all moved on. It was good.
Well, you got justice because he went on to play, at a high level in sports.
It did feel a little
and
better.
Got paid a lot.
When you saw him throwing other grown people around.
Like 330-pound men.
On the football field.
Yeah, like dish towels.
Yeah, as an all-pro defensive tackle in the National Football League.
You felt justification?
You know what? It was okay after that. It was like, you know what? That would have happened to anybody. That was going to happen regardless.
That's what I said. Justin, it wasn't you, man.
That was just going to happen.
You just happened to be that game.
Hey, that happened everywhere he went.
And every game he played, there was somebody like you telling that story still today.
We should start a club.
And can you imagine him and Hainsworth were on the same team?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. What team did they play on?
Yeah.
Tennessee Falls.
Okay.
Did they?
Yeah.
The son of a gun.
Right.
Can't believe you knew that.
Added perspective from Orange Damon. Who knew?
Can't believe he knew that right off the top of his head.
It was so easy. Just rolled right off of his tongue.
There we are.
I'm sorry. I just thought it.
Jeez,
You're not sorry. Don't fake apologize.
I found some really good things this past week that my program director showed me some nice little clips. So
yeah,
some of them are impressive. So I just throw in a few every now.
Okay. All right. Work them in.
The laughing part was good.
Work them in. I didn't know, and sad to admit, I didn't know Bill Walton had been. I honestly didn't know he was battling cancer. I guess I've been living under a rock.
I knew he had been somewhat open about it, but he had been battling cancer a long time, and I thought, from what I remember, he had beat it, and then I think it had come back. So this was not a short battle with cancer. This has been going on for a little bit. And he did pass away at the age of 71. Very unique character in the history of basketball is Bill Walton, for sure. And I'm trying to remember, Darren, you would know. We had an author on our show here who had spent extended time with Bill Walton. I'm struggling to remember.
Well, he was the director of the 30 for 30 that they were running on a marathon yesterday.
There we go. You're
on
right.
ESPN.
Yes, sir.
He was the director of that.
That's right. And he talked
drawing
about
blanks on the name.
I forget too.
But they were running it just all day yesterday.
Who had spent extended time with Bill Walton.
Yep.
And talked about the challenge of trying to capture his life, which had a lot of different phases here. So I mean that to me is what's so amazing. And, we don't have to spend all day talking about Bill Walton. But if anybody, for me, the lesson about Bill Walton is if you don't think you can reinvent yourself, watch Bill Walton. Bill Walton lived 5 different lives in basketball, after basketball. If you don't think it's over for you and you don't think you can start over again, watch some Bill Walton.
He made those telecasts very humorous and very interesting. I mean, I actually watched some of those games just to hear him clown. He just would say anything. He loved L.A. He loved UCLA. They're going to come back and they're going to be great. Just hold on. What's that? A musket running around the court? What is going on?
Do you know what his record was at UCLA?
Oh, it was good.
Either one of you know?
Wasn't he undefeated the whole time? He never lost the game, did he?
Nope.
No?
Nope. He lost.
Once?
I didn't say how many times, but he did lose.
He did lose?
He did lost. Boy, listen to me.
Like
you
one
tell
time?
We've been on
Right.
Memorial Weekend.
Oh, yeah.
He did lost. He did lost at UCLA.
He did lose the game one time.
What did happen? What happened?
I think it was 86-4.
Okay.
I believe was his record.
Yeah.
Wow.
And his 4 losses were a total of 13 points.
Yeah.
His 4 losses.
Yeah.
Total 13
Did he ever
points.
play Kareem, or did they played at different times, right?
Yeah.
They played at different times.
Different times.
They were like
He
decade
won
apart, but
2 national championships, I think, at UCLA.
Yeah.
He won two
NBA championships.
He won 2 state titles in high school, 2 national championships in college.
Yeah.
2 NBA championships.
2 NBA championships with 2 different franchises. Was the MVP of one of those championships and was the 6th man of the year on the championship with the Celtics.
I was going to say, by the way, you talked about his different stages of life.
Yeah.
He had a different NBA stage.
Yeah, I said that. Yes, different stages
I mean,
in basketball.
from Portland to
out
basically
the league.
non-existent.
Out the league, essentially.
To the Boston Celtics in the heyday.
Yep.
So it was.
Came around at the right time there, caught on with the Celtics, coming off the bench, essentially in those Celtics.
He was the 6th man, wasn't he?
6th man of the year,
Yeah.
1 year. And then went on, to do the things he did in broadcasting and marketing and commercials, all that. Afterwards, he became a bigger than life, person afterwards, which drew actually a lot of attention back to his basketball, days, because a whole new generation found out who he was based on broadcasting. He's really something else. So a lot to be learned from the life of Bill Walton. Really is.
All right, we'll take our first break. We're wide open this first hour. There's a lot to talk about. If you want to get involved, you can. The number is 615-844-5600. We have the convenience of a phone line and a text line with the same number. That's how you can coordinate with the show. Don't forget, also every day the show can be watched on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And on our YouTube page, you can communicate by just typing in WNSR Live, and we'll see your comments, and we can interact with you there as well. You are listening to The McFarland Show here on WNSR.
And now, Caesars Plumbing and Mechanical LLC is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways. Keep an eye out for kids at play and never text and drive. This message is brought to you by veteran-owned and operated Caesars Plumbing and Mechanical LLC, serving up to a 50-mile radius from Nashville. For residential or commercial septic and plumbing installations, repairs, service, and construction, give the pros a call today and ask about their veteran and first responder discounts. 615-295-5359, 615-295-5359, or visit CaesarsPlumbing.com.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage, but if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Has someone in your family lost a job recently, and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? We can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
Call 800-527-4903. That's 800-527-4903. 800-527-4903. Again, 800-527-4903.
Paid for by Airtime Media.
Tyler from Wendy's here. The best part of Wendy's new Cinnabon Pull-Apart is every part. Unlike mornings, which have no good parts. Until now. Because with Wendy's new breakfast Cinnabon Pull-Apart, mornings finally don't completely suck. And now that mornings have warm cinnamon sugar rolled dough and ooey gooey frosting, are they the best part of every day? Probably not, but you get the idea. Get to Wendy's today and get the best part in every bite with the new Cinnabon Pull-Apart.
At participating U.S. Wendy's, Cinnabon is a registered trademark of Cinnabon Franchisor SPV, LLC.
It's JB and the General.
You know, I'll do my Stugatz weekend observations. Stugatz from the Dan Levitard show. Patton, beep. One thing is sure. Beep. Actually, beep. Two things are sure. Beep. Tennessee is going to the Final Four. Beep. And the Nashville Predators, beep, are winning the Stanley Cup.
Oh.
Beep. Those are my two observations. How about that?
Weekdays 9 to 11, live on WNSR.
The McFarland Show, broadcasting live in Rutherford County on 107.9 FM.
It'll be week 2 of the George Plaster Show following the McFarland Show. Right here, starting at 4 o'clock. 4 to 6, Monday through Friday. So you've got a lot of live programming and afternoon drive. So keep that in mind today. When we exit stage left, George Plaster and friends will be right there waiting for you to take you to 6 o'clock.
Yeah, up next. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm sure Braves baseball tonight, I saw they fought. They fell to the Nationals 8-4 yesterday, and they've dropped, I think, 3 in a row.
Yeah, plus
and they got some horrible news.
Injury issues. Ronald Acuna is gone.
Acuna is done for the season.
Gone for the season.
Another torn ACL.
Non-contact.
And I do remember the last time it happened to him because we had gone to a July 4th game there, and I think it was against the Marlins. Memory serves me correct, and it was right after. I mean, I'd have to go back and look, and I think it was within a week is when he tore the ACL. In fact, it may have been right after that game we were at on July 4th weekend. And that was what, a couple years ago?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
tough news. I mean, they have just
tore
had
the other one this time.
Yes,
the other
that's
leg.
correct.
Yeah,
I think the first go around was the right knee. And I think this may have been the left. I don't know.
Yeah, you say so.
Braves Nationals tonight at Truist Park, 6:05, right after the George Plaster Show, is when the coverage will begin, and then first pitch will be at 6:20. It'll be Max Fried and Irvin for Washington. Our guy Juan Yepes, not still in the minors. Kind of hoping he'd get a call up by now for the Nationals.
Long season.
I know. Long season. By the way, before we get into some baseball talk, Angel Hernandez, retiring effective immediately.
Gone.
What am I missing here? I feel like there's more to this story.
There has to be. There has to be more.
Very, very odd.
Something somewhere has happened, and he's decided, okay, that's enough, and he's exiting here. Now, why? I'm not really sure, but it ends a career that was colorful, to say the least. One of the most unpopular or popular umpires. The fact that we know his name, you don't know the name of 98% of Major League umpires.
That's true.
Angel Hernandez, Joe West, and a couple of others.
CB Buckner.
CB, the list of people you actually know is pretty short, and the reason why you know their names probably aren't good.
Well, in this case, yes, for sure, but he's also been doing it for 3 decades.
Fair. He's been around a little bit. But I'm not really sure. I thought for sure that maybe the reason is because he was the umpire that blew the call in the White Sox-Orioles, the pop fly or infield fly game.
Was that? Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure it wasn't him.
No, it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't him.
But see, I thought initially, because it came out about the same time, I thought maybe he was the umpire who made that call.
No.
And maybe then he's decided, you know what, I'm not falling on the sword for this one. But he was not that umpire who did that. If you haven't seen that play, you should check that out going around. It's it needs to be seen to be believed.
Well, we brought it up last week, and hopefully some of you went and saw it. It's out there for you to find. It's beyond egregious. It's one of the worst endings I've ever seen to a game. I mean, it was really, really bad.
Yeah.
To get a infield fly rule followed by interference.
Interference.
It was so bad.
It was completely uncalled for and unnecessary, and Major League Baseball owes the Chicago White Sox a small apology or mulligan or whatever for that particular situation, especially when they did it. The fact that they did it in the bottom of the ninth like that. What do you? I'm sorry.
Well, Angel Hernandez put this out. Just and if you don't
Yeah.
mind, I'll read it real quick.
Sure.
Starting with my first Major League game in 1991, I had a very good experience of living out my childhood dream of umpiring in the major leagues. There's nothing better than working at a profession that you enjoy. I can agree with that, and so can you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I treasured the camaraderie of my colleagues and the friendships I've made along the way, including our locker room attendance in all the various cities. I have decided that I want to spend more time with my family. Needless to say, there have been many positive changes in the game of baseball since I entered the profession. This includes the expansion and promotion of minorities. I am proud that I was able to be an active participant in the goal while being a major league umpire. Look, I don't know if that played a factor in or not, but it is a convenient one you hear all the time of, I want to spend more time with my family. Well, here's the deal. If you wanted to spend more time with your family, you had an entire offseason to make that decision.
Yeah.
Like, what?
So just now you miss your family?
In May,
Yeah.
you decided, you know what? Golly, we still got a ways to go. Like, you've been doing this 30 years. Like, you don't understand, what it means in May, how much more you got to go. I want to spend more time with my family. Like, Major League Baseball has come out and said that he was now forced out. I'm just telling you, it doesn't pass the smell test.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. So, is it finally social media? Look, if you want to find the bad calls of Angel Hernandez, just get on social media. It's all there. People post things all the time, right, of his strike zone, or lack of.
The New York Post is reporting that 2 weeks ago, Major League Baseball approached Angel Hernandez about working out a settlement for him to retire. And apparently they've hit the number, whatever
but why, though?
Whatever the number is.
But why? Like, why now? He's been bad for a long time. Why now?
Don't know why now.
You see what I mean? Like, what?
Sure.
What was the trigger? Why now in May?
Why did Major League Baseball decide this was the time?
Yeah.
I don't know. To pay him to go away, because that essentially is what has happened.
Yes.
They paid him to retire.
They hit the number that he said, okay, I can live with that.
Yeah. And said, oh, you want to pay me this to go sit over there? How far over there do I need to sit? Okay. And that's what they're doing here. But why now? Supposed to last year or the year before? I have no idea. Whatever it was, it must have gotten so egregious to get to this level where they were going to force him essentially to retire in the middle of the season, supposing to have done this in the offseason when it could have been very, very quiet and no one would have said a word.
Right.
So
now,
what is it that is causing everyone to go, is that smoke?
Yeah.
I think that's smoke over there.
You smell that? Do you smell that?
That's smoke.
Yeah.
Where there was no need for any of that. None. So I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, somebody's got something on somebody somewhere that Major League Baseball does not want it to see the light of day. And, It could be a lot of other stuff I don't want to speculate about. It could be wild stuff. Who knows?
Oh,
People's personal safety could be a risk here. I mean, I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, you got the gambling element is always there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, let's not pretend that isn't kind of a go-to now in today's world, right? 2024.
Sure.
It's definitely real. And I'm not saying that's what because
we don't know.
Look, here's the reason I say that. Because of bad calls, and people, and I understand, I'm the one who said people post things on social. Well, they've been saying stuff and posting things for a very, very long time. Like, he's been voted like the worst umpire for a long time.
Yeah.
So what changed in 2024? Unless something else we don't know.
Something pretty big too.
And let me just say this, Justin. And there's only, and I'm not saying that I am just speculating. That's all I'm doing. I don't have this sourced. I don't have this whispered. I'm just saying, when you have a scandal already that could have been epically bad for Major League Baseball with their biggest star in the game, and Shohei Ohtani.
Sure.
Which, it's been completely pushed all on the interpreter, right? Everything is on the interpreter.
That thing is still smoldering, by the way.
Right.
The fire is not complete. It's still smoldering over to the side. People
and then
are still like, I don't know.
Get something else that comes out about your most prominent umpire.
Yeah.
Who's been, ridiculed for a long, long time because of his poor judgment behind the plate, his strike zone, his poor calls, his bad calls. And then if you were to top it off with that, you don't think Major League Baseball wouldn't want to keep that very, very quiet?
They would.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's the case. I have nothing on that. Just pure speculation.
I don't know either.
I've been doing this a long time. This story doesn't pass the smell test. Look, we have heard that. Who was it? Urban Meyer said he was leaving Florida to go spend more time with his family.
Sure.
Baloney. We all know it, and it played out. He was right back on the sidelines as fast as can be. The reason he got out of Gainesville is because everybody knew what was going on there. It was Bandit University. It was like half the time they were trying to have a practice. The other half of the time they were bailing everybody out of jail, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He just was trying to get ahead. It's just like Pete Carroll. He was just trying to get ahead of it all because it was about to all crumble around him, right?
Yeah.
He had been playing with fire for a long time at Florida. And look, it had worked with success. But it was going to come crashing down.
It was.
Because of all the players that he had kept bringing into that place and how bad it was, okay? And he used I want to spend more time with my family.
And we're still finding out how bad it was in Florida.
Yeah.
We still don't know exactly how bad that thing was right now. We still don't know.
So forgive me for not buying that it's Angel Hernandez woke up last week and said, you know what? Gosh, there's still a long ways to go this season. I think I'm tired. I'm just ready to spend more time with my family. Stop it.
Well,
after doing this for 30 years, come on.
They found a number that works for him.
Yeah, but there's a reason why they found a number. Why?
Yeah.
And here's the question I have for you.
Sure.
Since we don't know anything.
We don't.
We're just speculating.
We are.
Do you think we'll know? Do you think something will come out?
Yeah, eventually something
you
will.
do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The circles are too tight in baseball. Eventually, it comes out. Now, how long will it be? I'm not really sure. Will it be 10 years, 5 years, 30 years? I don't know. But eventually.
2 months?
2 months?
I don't know.
2 days.
Yeah.
Eventually, yes, somebody with some reputable sources will come forward and give an exact reason about why this is. I refuse to believe this just remains buried and gone forever because Major League Baseball typically isn't that clean with theirs. You know, if you think about the baseball secrets, they eventually get loose, no matter what they are. You know, can you name the big baseball mystery that we've never figured out or quite, got a hold of or understood or anything like that? I mean, I can't think of anything in baseball that's unexplained. everything eventually we found out. We found out about the steroids. We find out about the gambling issues with Pete Rose. We find out about, whatever it is. We typically find out about it at some point here. The players know right now. There's no way in the world the players don't know.
They know.
The umpiring community knows. And all it takes is for somebody to retire.
Or get on a podcast.
And sit down on a podcast. And eventually,
it all comes out.
It'll come tumbling out. This is not a national security secret. So, no, it'll come out. And Major League Baseball will deny, and the umpires will deny, and we'll play that game. But no, it'll come out. Whatever it is.
It won't be with Bussin' with the Boys. I don't think it'll be Joe Rogan.
No.
I don't think it'll be Dan Le Batard. I'm trying to think of the biggest podcast out there. I don't know, but you're right.
I don't know.
He's going to sit down with somebody he knows that's doing a podcast somewhere. And
it'll just be a
out.
random player. It won't even be. It'll just be a player, a role player, or a major. A manager, a bench coach. There are too many people. Think about the amount of people around baseball. There's so many people around baseball that we don't even know their names who are around in nooks and crannies of the game all over the place. People know. We just haven't been told yet because it's not time for us to know yet. But we will. They'll tell us.
Does your dad know?
I bet. Well, you know what? I don't know, but I bet he does. I bet, and our good friend Mike in Melrose, who's in that world. I'm sure if Mike doesn't know, I'm sure Mike is a couple of phone calls away from being able to figure it out. If Mike really wants to know, I bet you Mike could know within a couple of hours. If Mike really wants to know, and Mike would call us, of course, if he's listening, which he oftentimes is, and we appreciate your support, Mike. But the community is not that big, is all I'm saying. Everybody knows the dirt.
George McFarland, if you know, could you please pass it along to your son so we can talk about it more?
We'll
If you know,
see.
tell him
We'll
tell him tonight.
I'll see. See if he's available. I don't know.
If he's available. Well, the games are done, actually. I think but he does more than
season.
baseball.
No. Well, baseball season's done. Well, basically the entire season, because he does TSSAA. I don't know of any TSSAA related.
Does he do softball or no?
No.
Just baseball?
Baseball, volleyball, basketball is what he does.
That's a weird one.
We were trying. Never mind. It's a thing. But yeah.
Has he been doing that forever?
No, not forever. No, volleyball came in later.
Really?
Once life forces you to slow down a little bit.
Okay. Because basketball, you can't do that. You reach a certain age, you can't
keep the up and down, the pounding on the knees. It's a lot. The game moves really fast.
Heck, I couldn't do it right now with my age.
Yeah.
I guess couldn't.
The game,
my knees would just give out.
I mean, the game moves fast, and you got to get up and down the court. I mean, if you want to make a call, you got to get the right angle. You got to be in position. I mean, it's just you can't make a call from way. I mean, you can, but it's not fair to the game.
It's not ideal.
No, it's not fair to the game.
Or we come back. They wrapped up things in Hoover. Tennessee has been crowned champs. Vanderbilt made their run. We'll get into the NCAA, the regionals. They're out. Who the host cities are. We'll get in. We'll hear from Tim Corbin.
Yep.
Tony Vitello.
Yep.
We'll get you some sound. We'll do that on the other side as you listen to the McFarland Show here on WNSR.
And now, Caesar's Plumbing and Mechanical is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways. Keep an eye out for kids at play and never text and drive. This message brought to you by veteran-owned and operated Caesar's Plumbing and Mechanical, LLC, serving up to a 50-mile radius from Nashville. For residential or commercial septic and plumbing installations, repairs, service, and construction, give the pros a call today and ask about their veteran and first responder discount, 615-295-5359, 615-295-5359, or visit CaesarsPlumbing.com. That's Caesar's Plumbing and Mechanical, LLC. They're professionals who care.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right?
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Ooh, pass me the intercom thingy.
Attention shoppers. If you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Don't pay for water. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods.
Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. key.
They say health is wealth, and I could not agree more. That's why if you or somebody in your life is living with everyday aches and pains, I want to tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. Naturally. Now that's a big deal. Developed by its doctors, Relief Factor's unique formula of ingredients all work together to help support your body's response to inflammation. Instead of masking pain for a couple of hours, Relief Factor actually helps reduce or even eliminate your pain for good. Whether it's neck, back, joint, or muscle pain, if you're looking to feel better, live better, give Relief Factor a try. In 3 weeks, you will know if it's working because you'll feel it. I was sent Relief Factor for me to try. I've been taking it every single day, and I do feel the difference. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Atlanta Braves baseball is back, and the battle for a 7th straight division title is officially on.
Hit high and deep to left center. This has got a chance. Gone! Another home run for Olsen. He smokes another one. He lit the fuse on this bomb, and that's gone.
Listen to every pitch live, exclusively on your home for Atlanta Braves baseball. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Five-state forecast.
Your exclusive National Sports Radio, WNSR Sky Scan forecast. Today we'll have mostly sunny skies, high 84. It'll be mainly clear tonight, low 58. Wednesday and Thursday, sunny, high each day 80. We'll have a sunny day Friday with a high of 82. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Rinaldi.
Sports Radio, WNSR.
Welcome back to the Strike and Spare Studios. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Orange Damon will perk up in about 20 minutes when we bring Vince Ferrara on from the Sports Animal in Knoxville. But first,
we're going to hear from Tim Corbin. Tim Corbin, of course, is the legendary baseball coach for the Vanderbilt Commodores. He has earned the right to his 18th consecutive NCAA baseball tournament after a nice showing at the SEC baseball tournament. Now, this is not the strongest team that Tim Corbin has ever coached. I think most people would agree with that. This team does not have some of the talent that the other teams that Tim Corbin has coached. So they're asking him the question, how does he feel about this team as it goes into the tournament? Does he honestly feel this team's got a chance to win it all?
Pitching. I think we've got quality pitching. We can defend the ball pretty well in the infield and behind the plate. That guy's good. He's consistent. Our health is about as good as it's been all year. And I think mental health. You know, when it gets right down to it, it's like anything in life, it's about your mental health and how you feel about you. And they feel good about them. And that's the most important thing.
What do you think about this time of the year?
It was 2014. I mean, we went out of that tournament limping, and I remember in that old classroom where you guys were watching this thing. I think I broke a podium. I think it was really upset, and they were upset, and they should have been. And I just left the room, and we came back and really, really practiced well, and then just went on this surge. So yeah, it's all about how you feel about yourself now. And the thing about this season is it starts in January and it goes all the way to whenever. And at certain points, teams pick up momentum, and they can do it at the beginning of the year and think, whoa, this is a College World Series team. And then the middle and end of the year, you go, no, they're not. But the teams that, as you said, you remember, are the ones that catch fire at the end. And if you catch fire at the end and you play well and you're consistent with what you do, there's a lot of good things that can happen.
A lot of good things that can happen if you catch fire at the end. So for Tim Corbin, and I hear the message, Darren, it's not so much about the talent. If you don't believe that you belong here on this stage, then it's going to show itself pretty quickly. But if you do believe that you belong here on this stage, and you show up with the right mindset, then some good things can happen here. And I guess that's what he's hoping for here out of this particular team as they prepare to play Coastal Carolina over in Clemson. They're in the Clemson Regional, so they'll travel over there to Clemson, South Carolina.
Vanderbilt has the longest streak of NCAA tournament appearances. 18 years in a row.
Nice.
They've made the NCAA tournament. Who's next?
Oh man, you got me at a disadvantage on this one. Who's next on the consecutive list?
Yep.
Man,
16 years in a row.
No. My first thought is LSU, but I don't think that's the case.
LSU's third.
They're third.
12 years.
So who would be in the middle? I'm starting to think it's one of the non-SEC schools. Am I correct in that?
That is incorrect.
It's an SEC school?
Yes.
Oh.
That's why I said when you said you've got me at a disadvantage, I'm like, well, just start in the conference.
Mississippi State then.
It is not.
It is not Mississippi State.
No, Mississippi State hasn't gone they haven't gone until this year, since they won they won the College World Series, and they've missed since they won it, beating Vanderbilt.
Texas A&M?
Nope.
Yeah. No, I'm running into pitfalls here because I want to guess Georgia, but I don't think that's correct.
Who's one of Tim Corbin's best friends? What team does he coach?
Brian Callahan. No, that's a different sport. I'm sorry.
Kevin O'Sullivan, Florida.
From Florida.
16 years.
I was going to say Florida, too.
Vanderbilt, 18 years in a row. Florida, 16 years in a row. LSU, 12 years in a row. Then you get out of conference. Oklahoma State, 11 years in a row.
Okay.
Here's one you would have never gotten.
Okay.
Not even on multiple choice.
Sure.
Dallas Baptist.
Been hearing about them. Yeah.
10 years in a row.
Apparently, aren't they one of the automatic bid teams? They win their conference and get the automatic bid. Is that how they're getting in for a decade straight?
Not sure.
Okay. That's what typically happens is you get one really good team in one of the weaker conferences, and they end up getting that automatic bid over and over and over again.
Because you're saying they don't have a conference tournament?
I'm saying that they do have a conference tournament, but the rest of the conference isn't very good. Is my speculation.
Okay. That I don't know.
I don't know it. It's speculation.
Then Southern Miss is 8 years in a row.
Ole Miss then. Okay.
No, Southern Miss.
Oh, Southern Miss.
Not Ole Miss.
Not
Southern
Ole
Miss.
Okay.
I know. That's one of the reasons, besides Vanderbilt being 18 years in a row. But of the top six, I would have figured probably SEC would be like 5 of the 6.
Yeah.
So just half.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
So Vanderbilt has the longest streak in the country, 18 years in a row.
And
don't ever take that for granted, by the way.
Tim Corbin has spent extended time in Clemson. It's a place he knows well. He spoke about that for a few minutes as well, a place where he met his wife and raised his family for a few years before coming over to Vanderbilt. So it's a place he knows well.
If you're not familiar with their pod, here goes. So Clemson is the host of that region. They are the number 6 overall national seed. Vanderbilt is the 2 seed in that Clemson region. Coastal Carolina is the 3 seed. High Point is the 4 seed. Now, the winner of that region, remember, so it goes regionals, then super regionals, which is the best 2 out of 3, right?
Okay.
It'll just be, so the winner of the Stillwater region, which is, of course, Oklahoma State, they are the number 11 national seed. So Oklahoma State's region has Nebraska, the 2 seed, Florida, the 3 seed, Niagara, the 4 seed. So the winner of the Clemson region will take on the winner of the Stillwater region or the Oklahoma State region.
I will say I like the mix of the larger schools with the smaller schools that they've done here with some of these pods. Niagara is not exactly on the same level with Nebraska or Florida. If you think about, school brands and, money and resources and things like that. The same could be said probably of High Point and Vanderbilt and certainly of Clemson. I mean, those are Power 5 or at least in Power 5 conferences or what we think of as Power 5 conferences in terms of resources. But that makes it interesting. That makes it somewhat interesting to kind of watch and see how they match up with each other. Really does.
Now, the Tennessee region, of course, the Vols are the number 1 seed overall. They've got Southern Miss. Ring a bell? I just told you about them.
You did.
They're the 2 seed. Indiana's the 3 seed. Northern Kentucky
is
the 4 seed.
There you go.
Okay, so you've got Tennessee, Southern Miss, Indiana, and Northern Kentucky in a pod. And then in the Greenville region, which is East Carolina, whoever comes out of the Tennessee region will face the winner of this region, East Carolina, who is the number 16 overall national seed. Wake Forest, by the way, that's kind of down this year, which, by the way, they have a pitcher. Damon, do you happen to know who their pitcher is?
He used to play for the Vols.
Yeah.
Drew Bean.
No.
Drew
Chase
Bean.
Burns.
Chase Burns, okay.
Led the country in
I used to get them
strikeouts
mixed
this year.
up. Yeah.
Led the by a pretty good margin, by the way.
That's who they're trying to match up, I think, too.
So it could be Wake Forest and Tennessee. And wouldn't that be interesting?
It would be.
Because they will pick their spot to pitch Chase Burns against his former team. And then you've got VCU and Evansville. So East Carolina, Wake Forest, VCU, and Evansville in that pod.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
And of
so
course,
there you go.
Tennessee's number 1 overall here with their particular selection, and number 1 seeds have not done well overall in this tournament.
No, they have not.
And they asked Tony Vitello about that.
It's Miami, Florida. Is that the last?
I think so.
Or was LSU the number 1 seed overall last year?
I don't think they were.
Or was actually they weren't. I think you know who I think it was. I think it was Wake Forest.
That would make more sense.
I think Wake Forest was the number 1 seed overall last year.
So
I think it's been like 20-something years since the number 1 overall seed won. Yes.
20-something years.
Well, in fact, Tennessee, if you remember, 2 years ago, won the SEC championship in Hoover and was the number 1 seed overall, and they got upset in the Super Regionals at home by Arkansas.
It's a whole new season.
We talk about this all the time.
Yeah, it's a whole new season. So
it's like hockey.
It's tough to come together with a whole new season.
Was that Arkansas or Notre Dame?
To do what?
No, I think this one, when they were maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it was Notre Dame.
That was the last time I saw them lose before they could go to the World Series.
Was it Notre Dame? Okay,
yeah.
Maybe it was Notre Dame.
I
know
was
one year they lost in the Super Regionals to Arkansas.
Okay, I think it was Notre Dame.
But you're right. They did lose to Notre Dame. So I may have been wrong on that.
I'm just reaching back into my UT mind.
Our guest at 3:00 would know for sure.
He's got it all.
I promise you he will know.
He will know.
All right, we'll take our final break. We'll come back and we will wrap up the first hour of the McFarland Show here on this Tuesday afternoon on WNSR.
Clarksville Electric Service is on the air reminding all motorists to slow down in residential neighborhoods and school zones. Never text and drive, and always designate a driver when celebrating. This message is courtesy of Clarksville Electric Service, serving Clarksville, Tennessee for over 10 years. For commercial and residential installs and maintenance, call Clarksville Electric Service today at 931-614-0186, 931-614-0186, or visit ClarksvilleElectricService.com.
The Omaha Steaks semi-annual sale is here. Get 50% off site-wide and save on mouth-watering favorites today. Go to omahasteaks.com and shop the semi-annual sale, where you can load up on all the delicious flavor you crave at half the price. And when you use promo code SIZZLE at checkout, you'll get an extra $30 off your order. Save big on delicious, tender, juicy steaks, big, beefy burgers, and so much more. With Omaha Steaks, the possibilities are endless flavor and endless value. Every purchase is backed by their unconditional money-back guarantee. Simply go to omahasteaks.com and shop the semi-annual sale today. And don't forget to use promo code SIZZLE at checkout to get an extra $30 off your order. Hurry, because this deal won't last long. Kickstart your spring grilling today. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code SIZZLE at checkout. Minimum purchase may apply.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher. Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
With 13 locations nationally, including Smyrna, Star Leasing Company is a semi-trailer one-stop shop and the perfect place to build a career as a semi-trailer mechanic. Seeking candidates with all levels of experience, Star Leasing Company has a semi-trailer technician trainee program with sign-on and quarterly bonuses and other opportunities such as a $1,000 for having a yearly physical. The package also includes 401k with company match, health, dental, and vision insurance, competitive pay with weekly paychecks, and paid holidays and time off. Star Leasing Company, not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. Visit starleasing.com to learn more.
Warrior fan, can't believe I'm about to say it. You just got beamed. Devastating evening for the Dubs. Devastating, in fact, for anybody who was pulled for this Warriors dynasty. It truly did feel like the end of an era. And if not the end of an era, maybe the end of Klay Thompson's era at Golden State. What a terrible way to go. You got to feel for him. Disastrous night for a class guy and a rough night for a class organization.
Jim Rome is here weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR.
You're listening to The McFarland Show live on WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
Tonight, if Dallas eliminates the Timberwolves, the NBA Finals will begin on July 4th.
Not quite, but it might as well.
It's a long layoff.
June 6th. That's the date.
May 28th?
28th.
And there's 31 days.
That is correct. So we're talking about 10, 11 days.
Yeah, 10 days.
Until you start playing basketball again.
A week and a half off before the NBA Finals.
For game one of the NBA Finals.
Like, I understand. Like, there's logistics, right?
Yeah.
Like buildings.
You had to plan it, yeah.
But you have to come up with something. Like, and I know you can't plan.
A contingency schedule.
But you've got to know that, sweeps do happen. Now, it's unusual.
Yep.
That possibly two conference
finals end up in sweeps.
Could end up in sweeps.
That's
I don't
very
know
unusual.
If that's going to happen tonight or not. It seems like Dallas is the better team and they are going to sweep. But who knows? Who knows? But if they do, a week and a half until you start up your finals,
you're going to run into a territory where people are going to forget about it.
Yeah.
People are going to
They're going to check out on your product.
And let me tell you, who's really freaked out about this is ESPN and anybody who has to cover the NBA on a consistent basis, because these games are the fuel to everything they do programming-wise. And all of a sudden now you're talking about 10 days where there's no game? What are you talking about? Of course there's going to be at least one Game 5, a Game 6. Nobody's having a Game 5 or Game 6? Wow. That would be highly unusual. Highly unusual.
Obviously, they are secretly behind the scenes praying and fingers crossed and hoping for Minnesota to win a couple games.
For Minnesota at least to take it to 6 would be what?
That'd be a miracle.
The sports media would want.
And they would love it.
That's what they would want. But, the problem Minnesota's running into is they've run into two veterans who've been here and done this a couple of times with Kyrie Irving and Doncic. I mean, you just can't. Those guys are putting in 30 a night out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, Luka's kind of good, but Kyrie Irving has definitely found kind of a new shelf life in the NBA.
He's picked his spot is what he's
right.
done.
It's working there.
Because he's done this before. We just haven't seen this. And he's just decided, it's a good time for me to drop 30.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks like his old self back in, when he was successful in Cleveland. All right, that's going to do it for the first hour. We'll come back and we'll head east. We'll bring in our man Vince Ferrara from the Sports Animal. We'll do that next.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR, Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Israel says it's investigating the deadly airstrike in Rafah last weekend, saying the munition IDF used targeting Hamas would not have caused that big of a fire. The Hamas-run health ministry says 50 Palestinians died. The U.S. says there's no evidence Israel was targeting civilians. White House National Security Advisor John Kirby.
The Israeli Defense Forces today released initial findings that point to the fire being caused by a secondary explosion, not the initial strike.
The U.S. military also working to repair a part of the floating humanitarian pier off Gaza's coast, damaged by rough seas. Closing arguments still underway today in the hush money trial of Donald Trump. Defense attorneys wrapping up earlier. Prosecutors are delivering closing statements this afternoon. And communities in North Texas once again picking up the pieces after the weekend of tornadoes, hail, and lightning. Today, severe storm sweeping through Dallas-Fort Worth. This is ABC News.
Grown-worthy dad jokes to patching up skinned knees. Your one-of-a-kind dad deserves a gift guaranteed to take him to his happy place. Show him the love with a gift as unforgettable as he is. Omaha Steaks. Order the deluxe Father's Day gift package at omahasteaks.com. 20 unforgettable entrees plus 4 free burgers for just $89.99 when you use promo code QUALITY at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com, code QUALITY at checkout.
Omaha Steaks, America's original butcher.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
A friend of mine just bought a new house for the first time. A new house. I mean, my wife and I'd love to own a house. So I asked him how he did it. And he smiled and he said he went to the knowledge tree. He had this happy look on his face. So I told him to tell me more. And he said, John, the lack of knowledge will keep you poor. Then he handed me a brochure. It was from Knowledge Tree Mortgage. Now I understood. And after one phone call, I understood even more. Knowledge Tree Mortgage specializes in first-time homebuyers. Folks like me who get the runaround from banks, and he got us pre-qualified. Knowledge Tree Mortgage got us our mortgage. And tomorrow, my wife and I are going to become first-time homebuyers. Here's the number, 859-9599. 859-9599. Money doesn't grow on trees. Knowledge does. Knowledge Tree Mortgage, 859-9599. 859-9599.
Listen,
you can't handle the truth.
It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios.
Just a bit outside.
Now back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Oh, righty there.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Hour number 2 of the McFarland Show here on this Tuesday afternoon. Darren and Justin here with you, and we are live in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Also, every day you can watch the show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Our phone number and our text line is the same. It's easy and convenient for you. It's 615-844-5600. Let's go to that phone line, and let's go east, and let's bring in our man, Vince Ferrara. 99.1, the sports animal in Knoxville, does a morning show with John Wilkerson. He now joins us, and of course, Orange Damon is fired up today. Vinny, how we doing?
I am good. Yeah, Damon's got to celebrate that SEC tournament championship in baseball. They're starting to stack up those trophies on Rocky Top, so it's understandable.
Sometimes on Mondays, and I know this is Tuesday, but typically when you join us on Mondays, he sometimes he could, he gets comfortable in his chair over there, and first hour he kind of, who knows? Sometimes I've seen him slobber and snoring, and boy, when it comes 3 o'clock though, man, he is spry, he is quick on his feet, and he is ready to go for hour number 2. And I just have to believe that it has something to do with your appearance on the show.
Well, maybe the topic more so than me. I just happen to be the one that you guys have chosen to talk about it. But it is a pleasure. It's fun. It's always great to talk to him and do our own segment before he brings me on the air with you guys.
So how did the Vols get it done in Hoover after Vanderbilt beat them up pretty good on, what was that, Wednesday night?
Yeah.
And sure enough, they come all the way out at the end. They face a red-hot LSU team on Sunday, and they get the victory.
Yeah, and that was a long way coming. I mean, they kind of had to take, once you get into the losers bracket,
it's hard.
You got to take it like one game at a time, and it's just survive and then worry about tomorrow type of thing. And the first one was the big one, because the first one, in beating Texas A&M, it gave them an extra day to get to their rotation might look like in setting up the weekend. So you had the combo of Stamos and Causey, and then after that they went to Beam for Mississippi State, and they put it together with Vanderbilt again. And then it was Xander Seacrest with Vanderbilt, and so that's kind of the way it's been. So they were able to set up their regional pitching staff and plan while still getting through games, and then pretty much everybody they pitch really well. You have to have guys that haven't done it before rise up. They pitched great. The most runs they gave up was 5 in that Mississippi State game, and so you have to have guys like Marcus Phillips, who power arm reached 100 on the gun there. He had recorded 1 SEC out, and he got 9 to close out that Vanderbilt game.
Smoke, Vince, just smoke coming from the arm, essentially. I mean, they had no chance.
And he's not even their hardest thrower. Nate Snead is, who pitched in the tournament too. He got to 102 on the gun. So Dylan Loy, same thing. He had recorded 1 SEC out all season, been more midweek, and he went 4 2/3. So scoreless. Kirby Connell pitched 4 times. They didn't exhaust anyone. Just pitching was the big key, and then you got to adjust. Billy Amick was on a stretch of 0 for 17 before he hit his 3-run homer that put Tennessee on top against LSU. So just different guys, and then Moore and Burke, their stars, played like it for a good part of the tournament. Blake Burke was the tournament MVP, so that's the best way. They just kind of managed game by game and kept extending it, and didn't do it at the cost of anything for the regional this week.
All right, a couple quick ones, not Tennessee related. Just want to get your thoughts as someone who does college baseball games, knows the sport, follows it very, very closely, and I just want to get your take on it. The 2 bases, two bags at first that they used in Hoover. Like it, don't like it. What did you think?
I like it. I mean, I understand traditionalists not liking it, but Tennessee has been involved in those plays, and one of them was one of the bigger ones was Christian Moore against Florida, where there was a collision in the base, and you don't have to be outside of the baseline to get called out if you make contact with the first baseman. It's just it allows those runners from first to stay clear of potential collisions was the whole purpose of it, and then not be called out on those collisions for that you see happen when throws take you towards the runner. So, and Tom Hart, I don't know for a fact that there's numbers on the Tom Hart thinks that runners were getting down the line faster because they don't have to worry about any sort of contact or stepping on a first baseman's foot or anything like that. So I was fine with it because it's about safety. So I was good with that one.
Honestly, I'm shocked it's taking this long. I think it should be at every level. Personally, I see it all the time at the youth level. And on our circuit, it happens more than you know. And look, it's not just happening to us at our levels. It's all the way up. And I just think safety purpose. I know they've been doing it in softball for a long time, right? So I don't know why this hasn't been implemented at all levels, because it just, look, if we really care about safety, then we'll do this, because it's a real element of the game that's not fun when it happens, right? It's not fun for either party. It can be a really bad collision. And so, look, it took us a long time to wake up and put nets up around these, around the fields, when that should have been done decades ago. And I think that this is me, and I know traditional, there'll be people that will be against it. I don't care if they're against it. They were also against the nets. It's the right thing, and nobody complains about them today. I personally would like to see this at every level moving forward. I know it won't happen overnight, but I do think that there's a real shot it gets there.
Hey, preach, Coach McFarland.
I'm just saying, I see it. I see it. It happens. You'd be surprised. I don't think people understand how many times it really does happen. And I don't know. You've been calling games for a long time. I know you've seen it over the years.
Yeah, it's happened. And look, I would think that the younger they get, the more errant throws you'd have at first, to where it would happen even more. So absolutely, we've seen it, and it's a no-win situation for the runner trying to get to first. So it helps in a lot of ways.
Okay, what did you think of their region, the three teams in their pod?
Well, the biggest thing was seeing Southern Miss there, and Southern Miss, obviously, where Tennessee went last year, and where where Tennessee didn't, and fans didn't feel like they should have gone, but there they were last year. So I think that's the biggest thing. They're a 40-win team. I think they have 8 straight years of them winning 40 games. I think they have the 6th longest streak of making it to the NCAA tournament.
That's
so
not true. It's not
yeah.
true. You know what? I've already given out that stat. It's actually less than that, Vinny. I'm sorry. You are correct, sir. They are 6th on the list. It's Vanderbilt, the longest streak. We just went over this last hour. Florida, LSU, Oklahoma State, Dallas Baptist, then Southern Miss. 8 years in a row.
Yeah. And they're not going to be intimidated. They play SEC teams all the time. They're not going to be intimidated coming to Knoxville. So, they played them last year. They're going to have a chip on their shoulder. Tennessee beat them at their regional. So, people have motivation against the number 1 team as it is. So,
sure.
There's a challenge there as well with them being the Sun Belt champs. Indiana, they're kind of a little potential head scratcher of them getting in as an at-large out of the Big Ten as a 3 seed. They had, if not the worst RPI, one of the worst RPIs of any at-larges that got in. There was the likes of like TCU and others. Their RPI was like 25, 30 points better than Indiana's. Now, Indiana got hot late, so they were able to get in. Also, there's committee members from several of these schools that ended up getting some advantageous positioning in the NCAA tournament. They were asked about that, and no real answer on that, specifically saying that they recused themselves and all that kind of fun stuff. But and then the 4 seed Northern Kentucky, they beat Missouri this year in a series, and they're Horizon League champions. Is their first NCAA tournament, but that's an opponent that's come to Knoxville before in the past, not this year. So they've also play SEC teams, like I mentioned with Missouri. So I don't know that they're going to have an intimidation factor either, and they'll be plenty motivated. So,
do you know their nickname?
Yeah, the Norse.
Gosh, you're good. Yeah. You're good, man. It's just right off the end of it just flowed. Northern Kentucky Norse.
Yeah, and it is Hoosiers, by the way, in case you're going to ask me about that. On Indiana.
Yeah, a kid growing up in Lexington. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that Indiana. That Indiana.
Those Indiana people.
The 70s and 80s. I never even heard of that school.
Who?
But just overall, look, there's a lot. I think a lot of these teams that are hosting have some challenges to it, or the interesting storyline, and really something that. And maybe it's dangerous. It doesn't matter for the fans. It's more for the players. I don't think they'll be looking ahead. But if you're going to play the game of looking ahead, the potential super regional in Knoxville could be really juicy.
Mm-hmm. Some guy named Burns, who led the country in strikeouts.
By far.
Yep. Plays for Wake Forest. Yeah, could be. Yeah. That could happen. By the way, listen to this. This is pretty amazing. What Tony Vitello has been able to do. He has had 3 50-win seasons, because that winning the SEC championship game was the 50th victory season. Yep. They've already had that. They've done that 3 times under Tony Vitello. Do you know how many times the program has done it before that, before he got there? The program.
I do, yeah.
Twice. Twice in program history.
You keep asking Tony these questions, man. You know Tony knows the answer to these questions, man.
Yeah. Vince, you nailed it again.
Tony. Vince.
2 other times.
One of those Italian guys.
No, I was thinking about Tony Vitello, the coach of the team.
Yeah, named you coach.
3 times he's done it, and Tennessee had only done it twice in program history. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean he's done the double championship 2 of the last 3 years, and winning the regular season and the tournament.
Who did they lose to 2 years ago when they did that? In the Super Regionals, when they won the SEC championship.
Dame.
Okay, so all right, Damon, well done. I thought, when did they lose to Arkansas in the Super Regionals? Was it the year before?
Arkansas in the Super Regionals.
Didn't they lose to Arkansas in the Super Regionals?
That might have been earlier in yeah, I don't know right off the top of my head.
Okay, maybe I just made that up. Maybe I just made that up in my head.
Yeah.
Okay. Notre Dame.
Prior
Well done.
to Tony Vitello, we don't think about baseball before Tony.
Okay. I'm going to move on because clearly I think I've made up a series in my head. All right. Before we go to the break, I do want to ask you, because we've talked about the softball team. They were the number 3 seed overall. They were, I mean, they're playing the 14 seed Alabama. Alabama's a good softball program, but they played a marathon game in game 2. And then, I mean, I don't think anybody had them losing, but they are not going to Oklahoma City and the Women's College World Series, which is a bit of a shocker, or actually kind of a massive shocker.
Yeah, and look, softball is a chalk sport for the most part, and when you're one of the ones that gets upset, it's gonna shake people up, and that really caught a lot of people off guard. And this team had the ingredients of having 2 elite pitchers, 2 of the best, 2 All-Americans, in Gottschall and Pickens, and their offense was still very good throughout the season, but it wasn't as dominant as they were last year. And it caught up to them because they couldn't make adjustments in that series. I mean, just too many pop-ups, and they couldn't get the leadoff hitter on. They would take a first pitch strike and then fall behind in the count and then swing at balls. They were just off balance and off, and they had some hard contact to defenders, but overall they couldn't take advantage of their opportunities. Let the bases loaded a bunch. And Alabama, who had their very first losing SEC record season, for the first time that has happened, Patrick Murphy's been there a long time. He's a class act and an elite coach, obviously, with how good that program has been. But this is not the Alabama team like many others. And so that made it, I think, more difficult. And the way you lose that game, too, you give up a grand slam in the first to a team that doesn't hit very many home runs and had the lowest runs per game out of anyone in any of the super regionals. It's not what anybody expected, and very emotional post-game with the players and the incredible careers of Kiki Malloy and Riley West and others. So we'll see what they do in the portal and redo their roster, but no one was expecting this by any means.
We'll come back. Basketball lands a big name. People thought Tennessee was going to, but it actually happened. We'll get into that and a lot more with Vince Ferrara on the other side as you listen to the McFarland Show on WNSR.
The Tennessee Lottery congratulates this year's graduates from all the colleges and universities across the state. Your achievements set the stage for a brighter tomorrow. We're happy to have helped along the way by raising more than $7 billion for education and funding over $1.9 million scholarships and grants, including Hope Scholarships, Tennessee Promise, and much more. Visit DionLottery.com to see how our proceeds support successful futures.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-617-0239. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-617-0239. That's 800-617-0239. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Dog parents are loving Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend Premium Dog Food.
The way she acts and the way she moves, it's just so much better. And she's like a puppy again. It's unbelievable.
Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend is a freeze-dried raw food made with 0 artificial preservatives, so it's naturally shelf-stable with no mess, freezer, or fridge required. Plus, it's full of premium turkey, beef, salmon, and meat your dog will love.
We started with Nature's Blend. She's happy, she sleeps well, she's energetic. I am just delighted with this product.
When given the choice, Nature's Blend and Amazon's #1 bestseller in dry dog food, 29 out of 30 dogs chose Nature's Blend first.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free bag of delicious beef liver treats. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or text healthy to 511-511. Text healthy to 511-511. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request. Paid for by Dr. Marty's Pets.
When was the last time you did something fun with family, friends, coworkers, and clients? What if I told you about a place under one roof that offers affordable entertainment for all ages? That's what you'll find at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers in Donaldson, Hermitage, Tusculum, Hendersonville, and Murfreesboro with bowling, games, food, drink, and entertainment for all ages. Enjoy an enhanced experience in Hendersonville or Murfreesboro where they feature additional fun with bumper cars, laser tag, roller skating, and more. All locations are open 7 days a week, including holidays. Visit online at strikeandspare.com. Strike and Spare, where fun is bowling.
It's a Bill King Show.
We created a rule decades ago on the show. Weddings, things of that nature, during the playing portion, do not get consideration. No. Don't do that. Weddings are meant for the spring. They do not get consideration during the playing portion of the season. That's just the way we work it around here. That's the way we play it around here.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
You're listening live from the Strike and Spare Studios, downtown Music City. It's the McFarland Show.
Welcome back to the McFarland Show on this Tuesday afternoon. We are talking all things Tennessee Volunteers with our main man, Vince Ferrara from 99.1 The Sports Animal there in Knoxville. And, of course, he's back on the line here with us. We just spent a long time talking about Tennessee baseball as they, of course, are getting ready for the NCAA baseball tournament. But now we want to turn our attention to some other sports, and we want to start with basketball. Vince, the Vols landed a really big-time transfer. Chaz Lanier, who is coming over. Lanier. Don't want to insult the young man. After all, he's from here. Chaz Lanier played at Innsworth High School, has spent the last couple of years at Northern Florida, averaging 19 points a game, a shooting guard, 6'4", coming to the Vols. What can he do right away for this Tennessee Vols basketball team?
Start. That's one thing he's going to do, in my opinion. Look, he's got versatility, and you mentioned 6'4", 199, but this is one of the more in fact, he was, according to one of the stat publications out there, the most efficient shooter in the country last year. So he really made a big jump last year in becoming a higher level scorer and an efficient shooter. Shoots it great from three, shoots it great from two, shoots it great from the free throw line. I mean, he drives to the basket. He's got athleticism.
Very aggressive with the basketball, Vince. Watching some of the clips there. I mean, he's very confident with the basketball.
You mentioned confidence. Absolutely. He plays like a guy that wants to take over a game. Tennessee's losing a guy, or just lost a guy that is like that has that kind of athleticism. I'm not saying he's Dalton Connect because he's a different player, he's different size, but if you can go from that mid-major level to Tennessee and develop, and Tennessee got that to be able to sell, I mean that's why people that just they're hesitant, I think, to look at roster makeovers of the portal today and say, all right, this guy, I've never heard of him. That they didn't really play anybody at this school. All over college basketball, guys are becoming stars from that level. It's the world of the portal where you're playing up, you're transferring up to play big time basketball. And Chaz Lanier was one of the most coveted players in the portal. I mean, obviously Kentucky wanted him, BYU, Maryland, and others. And Tennessee won that battle. And I read a story. One of the reporters here in the market did an interview with him and said, I think it was Ryan Shumpert, and he said that the entire Tennessee basketball team was waiting on him when he
arrived at campus
in
there.
Knoxville.
Yeah.
They painted the rock for him, said, "Come home, Chaz," which always is going to be impactful. And then when you have an entire basketball team that at like midnight is waiting on you to welcome you and to be there on your visit, I mean, that says a lot. It sounds like he made a basketball decision, not an NIL decision. If he would have made an NIL decision, he may be playing for Mark Pope with the Big Blue.
Yeah.
But this is a basketball decision, and they had Dalton Connect to be able to sell, and a pretty good roster now with everybody else they put in the portal. He's going to fit in perfectly with this team.
And just to be clear, do you know how much eligibility he's got left? Is this 1 year for him? Is it a true Dalton Connect type of situation where he's going to be one and done here?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe he has 1 year of eligibility. I don't know if he's officially taken his name out of the NBA. I guess so if he signed with Tennessee, but but until recently, he still had his name in the portal. So yeah, he's 4 seasons at North Florida. So yeah, he'll have 1 year of eligibility. And obviously, people thought that Tennessee would be the favorite for him because he was a Nashville kid, but it wasn't assumed. Tennessee still had to work for him and wait on him because he wanted to see what his NBA options were.
See what else was out there, of course. So we'll see what he does when he gets out there on the floor. And this is before we move on to football real quick. Is he going to have to – is this going to be a thing? He's going to have to live in Dalton Connect's shadow. And I know what you're saying. They're two different players, but I think fans will have certain expectations because of what Dalton Connect did last year, and all of a sudden here comes this new player that's also here for 1 year. There's some similarities, and they got to be careful to introduce him the right way, and hopefully fans will give him a break.
I think it's possible. I think some may have already gone there. I don't know how much that pressure will be on him per se, but I'm sure they brought up Dalton Connect and they put it in perspective on what he did. It was one of the greatest seasons in Tennessee basketball history. So if you're a great player, you're going to embrace that, and the pressure's not going to phase you. If you're not ready for the big time, then it will phase you. So that's something that Chaz Lanier is going to work out, and they'll try to help him with it. But I don't think that's something where everybody should say, hey, let's be careful, let's not put too much on him. They have a lot of confidence in him, and how the pieces all work. Now, with all these transfers in, we had Chris Dortch from Blue Ribbon College Yearbook. If you guys haven't had him on, highly recommend
we
it.
have him on a lot.
Two or three times right now, absolutely.
Usually around February and March, we have him on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Have him on soon, because he broke down every player and how Tennessee traded off and upgraded every one of those portals. And this is before portal additions, before they got Lanier. This is on Friday that he joined us. He thinks Tennessee is upgraded, and he's very dialed in and friends with Rick Barnes, as you guys know. So very high on this group of transfers. And so we'll the way he put it, that this team has a lot of pieces that people are going to be surprised, basically, that they're going to be so good and put it all together as well.
He was very high on Mark Byington, the hire by Vanderbilt. He came on and really, really, really praised that hire.
Had a small book on him.
He sure did.
Which I think he kind of has a small book on everybody. I'm sure he started one on you and I and all of us by now as well, that he just hasn't released.
His publication is unmatched. It's amazing. You're right. He just has so much knowledge. He's so connected. He even does NBA draft. He's worked for NBA.com.
NBA TV.
Dalton Connect he thinks Connect will be a top 10 pick, by the way.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of the mock drafts that agree with him. To football, the SEC spring meetings happening right now down in Destin. I understand you guys have a special guest down there doing some of the coverage. But my thing is this: what do they decide at these meetings down there? Is this a golf trip or things actually getting done?
No, it is not a golf trip. In fact, they've condensed it one day from 4 days to 3. There's actually more business being done at these spring meetings than there is at media days. It's not the media event. It's a work environment that some national media and certain local media are able to go and attend. And Jimmy Hyams, who's retired now, but he gets to select his gigs, and rightfully so. Been doing it great for a long time. Nobody covers this event better than Jimmy, so we're blessed. He's doing it for the 39th consecutive year, and so he's already pumping out one-on-ones after one. He gets head football coaches. He'll have Lane Kiffin on later. Already talked to Cutcliffe. He'll have all the Tennessee contingent. So if anyone wants to check all those out, 991thesportsanimal.com, SEC spring meetings in Destin. But, yeah, they're doing business. Already, Greg Sankey talks every day. He said that they're going to announce the first 3 weeks of SEC kickoffs. They're going to announce in mid-June all of the noon and 1 p.m. kickoff times throughout the year, the season, so fans can plan ahead of time.
No more guessing, huh?
No, they're going to be able to have fans know more about their games rather than having just those 6-day windows that were so tricky for a lot.
That's
of
about
fans.
a month's worth of shows for Bill Keane.
There you go.
No, it is. I mean, well, we've all sat around, looked at the schedule, and said that should be the 11 o'clock game, that should be the 2:30 game, and we did that all the time.
So they're just going to come out with the whole kit and caboodle for the whole season?
The noon and 1 o'clock games, the primetime games are the ones that'll be a little bit more to TBD. And there's a lot more business with the agreement of what happened with last week with the paying of players and revenue sharing. There's a lot of conversation about that this week as well. And it doesn't sound like Sankey was asked, "Hey, are you guys going to discuss 8 or 9 game schedule that we've all been talking about and thinking they would do something on?" He said no. He really didn't think it would go be much of a discussion point this week, which is pretty interesting on why that might be the case. We'll see if we can get some answers to that this week.
That is rather interesting. Okay. The settlement that has been reached, $2.7 billion, I believe, is what the number was with the NCAA and with various unnamed parties going back several years here. I know that they have not come out with an exact list. They just say it's the NCAA and the Power 5 conferences. Obviously, Tennessee would be included in that. Is there any word on that you have heard of, Vince, that if Tennessee is going to have to write a check to anybody anytime soon for any back pay or anything like that, or how any of this is actually going to work now that the judge has handed down a judgment here?
Well, I think those details have to come out first, and there's so many questions about how it gets dispersed based on sport, gender with Title IX. They're going to go back 10 years. Then when you get into the revenue sharing, how is all that going to work when you have the money dispersed moving forward? Talking about a lot of money, back paying and forward paying. Who pays for that? My guess is it's not the schools. They're not chopping that off of their revenue. Somebody is going to pay for that, whether it's the fans, well, it will be the fans to some degree, or people losing their jobs, or sports getting eliminated. I think there's going to be ramifications to these extra dollars going the way of the players from these schools. Some programs are not going to be able to handle it. Now, is it the exact same for anyone out of the WAC versus someone out of the Southeastern Conference? We haven't seen all those details yet. So there are so many other questions. Oh, by the way, then they're talking about 22% of revenue sharing for the players, that it's capped at 22%. They can do up to 22%. So then there's going to be variance in that, but you can't go over that. Well, what about the open market system, which is what players have wanted to, the athletes have wanted to get? So why are you capping it there? I heard Jay Billis talk about it. He's like, I wouldn't accept that. So there's still a lot more that I think will need to be played out and discussed and see who digs in. And, there could be a lot of consequences to this, or maybe we'll take the route to try to get to some sort of consistency. Greg Sankey said, hey, we need some national leadership and oversight and have that consistency nationally. Well, we've needed that for a long time.
Yeah.
So we'll see where they go.
Well, the thing with that, Vince, and Darren and I have discussed this at length, and I've mentioned this. Darren knows I've talked about this numerous times. I said the end of this has to go with a national board. Now, my only question is, who is that exactly? Are we talking about the NCAA, or are we talking about the United States House and Senate and Congress here who need to pass some laws here to make sure that everything, gets buttoned down? Because this thing gets complicated real fast, Vince. If these players decide to unionize, how do they do that? Are we unionizing as a football team? Are we unionizing as an athletic department? Are we unionizing as a conference? What are we talking about here? I mean, are there work hours? Are we doing that? Are we building a clock in, clock out situation? This gets complicated if we start really looking at athletes as employees and start instituting employee type of laws. Are they signing 1099s or W-4s or whatever it is? I mean, they
get vacation time, health insurance.
It can get hairy.
401k.
Only because, listen, there are laws on the books for employees. Employment law is a real thing. So, who are these guys? And that kind of stuff needs to be settled.
Well, I think the hope was to avoid the employee aspect of it, and maybe this agreement with the revenue sharing is a way to disperse some of those dollars without going the union or the employee route. But yeah, you're right. There's so many connective tissues to this that are going to make it more complicated. And who knows, maybe the governing body is the two powers in the SEC and the Big Ten. Maybe that's why they don't want to make any sort of decisions on schedule, because they may see the whole thing is going to look so much different. Does football look different than everything else? I mean, there's just a million different directions that this thing can still go. But, I guess at least for the student athlete, they're working towards them getting a bigger piece of the pie. But, we'll see what the unintended consequences end up being from that.
Just real quick, as somebody who does news in addition to sports events, I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. If it has to go through Washington, oh, boy. Okay? Like, I can't imagine they would want that. I can't imagine, because they know the kind of thing that could happen up there when you institute something like this on that level. I can't imagine they would want that.
It is a different level, and I heard that Greg Sankey has been to Washington, D.C. 5 times already. This year, I guess it was. I don't forget exactly.
I mean, it wasn't to see a Nationals game, was it?
During the Smithsonian, perhaps.
Commanders, OTAs, probably not the reason why Greg Sankey
probably
went
not.
up there.
Yeah.
But what do they? Sounds like they're looking for help, but to what degree?
Yes, sir.
That's where it kind of gets into what you're saying there, Justin.
I'm sure it wasn't to check in with Jaden Daniels to make sure everything was okay in Washington.
Well, yes, he is a prolific Heisman Trophy winning SEC quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just saying. Vinny, we appreciate it as always. You have a great week, and it'll be fun. So when does Tennessee play? When's their first game?
Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. is Southern Miss and Indiana in the 2-3 matchup. That's noon Central Time. So good things started on Friday. If Tennessee keeps winning, it'll be 6 o'clock Saturday and then 6 o'clock Sunday, and then, God forbid, they have to play an if necessary Monday game. Nobody wants to see that.
All right. Vince, appreciate it as always. Thanks for doing this.
All right, you guys are the best. Appreciate you.
Vince Ferrara, 99.1 The Sports Animal there in Knoxville. 615-844-5600 is how you get in touch with us. We're wide open the rest of the way. You're listening to the McFarland Show here on WNSR.
Paramount Roofing and Exteriors, LLC, is proudly saluting our troops and veterans. Their tireless efforts should never go unnoticed. This message is brought to you by Paramount Roofing and Exteriors, LLC, serving Middle Tennessee. For all of your roofing, siding, window, door, and exterior needs, give the pros a call today at 615-635-1790. 615-635-1790. That's Paramount Roofing and Exteriors. AJ and the staff are professionals who care.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in 1 wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
O'Reilly.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Do you ever feel like gambling is causing financial strain or hurting your relationships? The Gambling Clinic has been helping people who want to change their gambling habits for over 2 decades. With physical clinics and remote online appointments, we're here to help you make informed decisions about your gambling so it doesn't lead to a bigger problem. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com so we can work together to help you win your life back. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
The 2024 Atlanta Braves are on a mission to bring home a 7th straight NL East title and head back to the Fall Classic.
Harris to the warning track. Harris will leap, and he got it! He caught the ball! You have got to be kidding me! Swung on, belted, deep right field, gone!
Listen to the NL East defending champs, the Atlanta Braves, only on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
The McFarland Show. Video streaming live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube from the Strike and Spare studio.
Don't go anywhere following our show. George Blaster and friends will take you the rest of the way home, 4 to 6 p.m. Kelly Holcomb, former MTSU Blue Raider, former Cleveland Brown quarterback, former Buffalo Bill quarterback.
He's done a few things.
Spent a long time in the NFL.
I think the Green Bay Packers, too, wasn't he?
I don't know, Vikings, maybe?
Maybe the Vikings.
I don't know. He played for a lot of teams.
He did.
But, hey, the Browns, until Baker Mayfield took him to the playoffs.
Yes.
And Joe Flacco.
Yes,
this past
as of
season,
late, yeah.
It was Kelly Holcomb. That was the answer.
Yeah.
And then after their show will be Braves baseball. So Braves and Nationals. In fact, I was looking at just random stuff. Top prospects in every organization. The Braves' top prospect is A.J. Smith-Shawver, who's a pitcher. And the Nationals' top prospect is James Wood.
James Wood.
An outfielder.
Appropriate baseball
What does
name.
that have to do with tonight's game? Absolutely nothing.
They will not be in action.
Nothing. Kevin in Florida is actually listening to the show right now in Alpena, Michigan. Alpena, Michigan. We've got an intern here in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio from Michigan, and he just kind of looked at us like, I don't know where Kevin is.
I mean, he's also from a part of Michigan that a lot of people
Alpena, Michigan.
don't get to. We'll
He's
get
in
to.
the upper.
Sounds like he's in the upper
coast.
peninsula, what they call the UP.
It's up in the coast. They see snow a lot.
Oh, boy,
where he's
do
from.
they ever.
Mike on our text line says Miami was the last number 1 seed to win the College World Series. That was in 1999. So 25 years ago was the last time someone won the College World Series when they were the number 1 seed.
It's been a little bit. So we'll see if Tennessee can break that coming up here starting Friday night. They've got a big matchup here. So
They were the number 1 seed overall 2 years ago and lost to Notre Dame. So
yeah,
I don't see that happening this year, but
I don't
you
either.
never know.
You never know. There's a reason why they play the
Look, we talked about that with Vince. If Wake Forest gets out of that, that is going to be quite intriguing to see Wake Forest in Tennessee in the Super Regionals. Let's go to Tony in Nolensville. Tony, what's up?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Glad everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. Watched a lot of ball myself. And one thing we all learned this weekend, we learned a lot more about a catcher's balk and a catcher's interference on a squeeze play and a steal at home. Did we not?
We were getting ready to play that audio. We've got it queued up to play it. But, yes, it was one of the craziest things I've seen in baseball. I was watching it live. This is the LSU South Carolina game on Saturday. We were done at the ballpark. We had already gotten home. And I was watching that game, and I could not believe the chaos
Did you know the
that
call?
ensued. No. I mean, no.
I didn't either.
No.
Justin.
Yes, sir.
Did you talk to your dad? Would he have known that call?
Yes, he would have. Yes, I mean, but it's very obscure. It's not something you see all the time.
Well, it happened twice.
Yeah,
in Hoover.
Yeah,
right.
Which
that LSU South Carolina, that was so bizarre because here's what I wanted to ask the question, Darren, and that they kept referring to the catcher cannot come out in front of the plate.
Correct.
Well, in normal circumstances,
until he has the ball. Until he has the ball.
Right. You're talking about in front of the plate from the pitcher to home plate. But in this sequence, they were talking about in front of the plate the way I'm still counting because they kept referring to the runner coming from third. So does that, in essence, become that line from third to home, does that at that point become the front of the plate?
Tony, you're going to have, if you ask too many questions, our heads are going to explode. So this
I was sitting there too, Darren, and I'm just like, this is the damnedest rule I've never heard. This is crazy.
Well,
so I kept reading about it. What they eventually ruled was that catcher interference, because he had not gotten the ball yet, the pitch was still a hittable pitch. It was not the pitcher did not step off.
Well, if he would have
mound.
stepped off, it's a whole different ball game. But instead, he pitched.
Exactly.
And that's what set this whole thing in motion because it was from a pitch.
So it was really, really bizarre. So,
and here's the deal. Here's the deal, Tony. In my opinion, that play's got to be reviewable. There's just no way.
That's why I don't understand.
You cannot expect them to make that call
on
with the
field.
naked eye.
Yeah, on
like
the field
that's
like
it's
that.
insane.
It was non-reviewable. They couldn't protest the call because it wasn't called a play. They said it's non-protestable. You can't review it. And you know what's the words, guys? We always hear this. Every scoring play is under review. Well, hell, that wasn't.
By the way,
we hear that
you
in
know
football.
what else is crazy? Think about it. They then came out after all this lag time. They then throw it home and protested South Carolina never touched home. And in fact, he didn't. He never touched home plate. But because the play was
did
dead.
you hear what they ruled on that?
Yes, because the play was.
Because the umpire had then called him out.
No, I thought it was because the play was dead.
Yeah. I said, boy, this whole thing was just blowed up and botched, if you ask me.
Like I said, my head will explode if I talk too much more about it. Guys,
I'm going to touch on one more quick thing real quick on this NIL stuff. I saw an interview this weekend on the Ohio State athletic director who used to be at Ole Miss and Texas A&M. His name is Ross Burke, something like that.
Bork.
He said this. Now, picture this.
Mm-hmm.
At Ohio State, they have 36 sports, 1,100 athletes, 600 department employees. That's all involved. That will be involved one form or fashion under this NIL stuff. And this was an interesting statement he said. It's so interesting. I wrote it down. I want to read it to you.
Right.
I'll say it real quick. Everybody's going to have to determine the value of each sport, the value of each position in each sport, and then compare the players from each sport, top players from sport to sport, what kind of ratio and money breakdown that they will have to be, what table they'll set up. And doing this along the way, they can't lose the integrity or the responsibility of Title IX. I said, that is just too much for me to absorb.
It's complicated.
All right. I've got a headache. Tony, this was too much thought-provoking.
I did too. I just said here, I said, they'll never get this figured out. This is just too much.
Oh, yes, they will.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, they will.
Shout out the Vanderbilt golf team, guys.
Yep.
They're on the verge of a national championship.
They are.
Out in California. I think they're running third. The last thing I saw yesterday was they were in or tied for second, actually, somewhere for the Natty in the golf. So, hey, guys, great show as always, and looking forward to talking to you all a little bit later this week.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
We'll take our final break, come back, and wrap up Tuesday's edition of the McFarland Show next here on WNSR.
There's something that binds us all. The constant hunger to improve. The obsession with every detail. And the reward of a custom fitting taking your game to a whole new level. We're all bound by two words said by golfers worldwide. Schedule your fitting at Edwin Watts Golf Shops. Find your local store at worldwidegolf.com. Get there.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention, if you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes significantly. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-240-4917 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-240-4917. That's 800-240-4917. Again, 800-240-4917.
Gas, groceries, utilities, you name it, the price of everything is going up. And if you're stuck in a bad timeshare with rising maintenance fees, the financial burden can be crushing. It is time to get your finances in order and get the real facts about that timeshare that you are stuck in and your options to get rid of it. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has been helping families out of horrible timeshares for over 10 years and has put together a complete timeshare exit information kit that he will send you absolutely free. To date, over 30,000 families have trusted Wesley Financial Group to help them out of financial hardship by getting them out of bad timeshares. Get the facts about how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation. Simply call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit and see how you can become timeshare free. Call 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. Once again, 800-462-3333.
And now, Kingdom Doors is proudly saluting the brave men and women in blue who work tirelessly to protect and serve our communities, especially our police and sheriffs. This message is brought to you by Kingdom Doors. For custom garage door installations, service, and repairs, give the pros a call today at 615-810-6415, 615-810-6415, or visit kingdom-doors.com. That's Kingdom Doors. They're professionals who care.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
A lot of times they will say, well, you didn't play the way we practiced or whatever it is, you didn't execute. How many times have you heard that over the years, Darren? This is going to be different. Brian Callahan is bringing a different philosophy into the building, one that includes talking to players more about what makes them feel comfortable.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
Give us a call, 615-844-5600. The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Our buddy Johnny out in Vancouver has been listening today. He was on vacation last week in Portland, Oregon. So he is back in the saddle and listening to the show. So, Johnny, good to have you back. 615-844-5600. We're here live in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. We are the McFarlands. Darren and Justin here with you. Congratulations to our buddy Joseph Newgarden.
Hey, how about that?
He did it again.
He did.
Back to back.
Back to back.
Indianapolis 500 champion. Pretty cool. First time since Elio Castroneves.
Okay.
Who I got to know pretty well over the years when they used to come here every year. He's a character. Everything you've ever seen over the year, he's exactly like that in person. That is not an act. That's how he is. He is a character. But Joseph Newgarden, wow. It took, I think, 12 trips before he finally won, and now he's back-to-back.
All right.
Nashvilleian.
Congratulations to him. Breaking news from the NFL circles. We've got it right here. Nico Collins, the wide receiver from the Houston Texans, has received a 3-year extension worth $72.75 million. That has the max value of $75. $52 million is guaranteed for Nico Collins, who was heading into his 4th year with the Texans last year. Let's see, 1,200, nearly 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns.
Most people last year going into fantasy drafts didn't even know who he was.
Who?
Right.
Jumped off the page last year.
Crazy. All right, that's going to do it for our show today. George Plaster Show coming up next, followed by Braves and Nationals after that. Stay tuned. More coming here on WNSR. We'll talk to you tomorrow.